Hey guys, we're back, and today we have a very exciting video for you. We are going to be counting down the top 10 NBA stars that just do not look right in other uniforms.
Straight torture, son.
In addition to that, we're going to take a look at their card values and compare their card values on the last year they played in their most famous uniform, and take a look at the demand for their card values on the uniforms that they're not so famous for.
Based on an in-depth analysis.
It's going to be pretty cool. I know there's some names that come to mind that, you only could really see them in one jersey throughout their career, but sometimes, it doesn't end that way. They wind up going somewhere else to win a championship or try to win a championship, and then it looks weird.
It's true. Let's see what it looks like. You let us know in the comments who we left out and who you would add to this list, but let's jump right into number 10. We have someone that everybody knows, one of the best modern day point guards out there, Steve Nash, infamous for playing for the Phoenix Suns, was actually a rookie for the Phoenix Suns for about 2 years and then went off to Dallas for about 6 years. But I think the most iconic jersey, at least I know we associate Steve Nash with, is with the Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns, man, he was just a nightmare. I believe he also won 2 MVPs on the Suns, and his overall stats, he made the Hall of Fame, 8-time All-Star, 5-time assist champion, 7 times All-NBA, and again, I said 2 MVPs. So he was definitely one of the best point guards of our generation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But with Steve Nash, we cannot forget that he didn't spend his whole career, obviously, in the Suns. He was at the Mavericks, but really at the end, he did spend those 2 seasons with the LA Lakers wearing number 10. Ugh. And it just doesn't look right for Steve Nash.
He looks uncomfortable. Even the guy guarding him doesn't want to touch him.
I think that's Lillard. Lillard's like, I don't want to touch this. Who is this guy in the Lakers jersey? They tried for 2 seasons in LA, didn't happen. But taking a look, let's take a look at some of the card values. When you look at Steve Nash's last season with the Suns versus his season with the Lakers, again, these are not perfect comps, but what we tried to pull was not looking at a rookie card, because if we look at the rookie cards, it's obviously going to not be a comparison. But is there demand? Yeah, there's actually demand. When you look at his last season, 2011-2012 with the Suns, you could get a card that's numbered to about 25. There's still people buying it for about $30. But when you look at the Lakers, he has a flawless patch numbered to 5 that actually went up to $200 in 19 bids.
I think that has to do, again, with the strong fan base the Lakers have. And we'll see it in the, in future players and how important it is for this fan base. So if you're on the Lakers, you're probably going to keep your value, assuming you're a Hall of Famer, a great player. But if you're on like a team that no one really knows about or cares about, then you might have problems.
So let's see if that's a common theme with some of the other plays we have coming up. So let's jump into number 9. We have another point guard. We have Tony Parker. And Tony Parker is interesting because he spent the majority of his career, with the exception of 1 season, with the Spurs. We know they had a fantastic team over with, Popovich and Tim Duncan. So with Tony Parker, he's one of those not on the Hall of Fame just yet, but he's probably going to be borderline, right?
Yeah, he's a 6-time All-Star, 4-time NBA champion, and 4-time All-NBA. Definitely is going to get in the Hall of Fame, actually. Yeah, because with 4 championships and the reign that the crazy dominance that the Spurs had for a while.
Yeah, for sure. So with Tony Parker, the reason why he made our list at number 9, though, is we can't forget he did spend that 1 season away from the Spurs when he joined the Hornets for 56 games. He spent his last season there, and it just doesn't look right.
It doesn't look right at all. He joined the Hornets not to win the championship. I guess, maybe they gave him some good money, and he was trying to mentor people, I guess, because there's no way they were going to win a championship. So he wasn't really championship chasing. He already won 4 with the Spurs, so he didn't really need to do that.
No, definitely not. And the uniform just doesn't look right.
I'd rather watch paint dry.
When we think about Tony Parker, right? It's a Spur.
Spur for life.
But these pictures exist, so he wore the uniform. So when you look at the comps for Mr. Tony Parker, you take a look at his final Spurs season, which was 2017-2018. This is obviously an autograph, but numbered to 35. People are still looking for his cards, even if it's his last season with the Spurs. This one went for about $80 in 14 bids. And on the far right, you have a Donruss Optic, which is the 1 season with the Hornets, numbered to 79. And yeah, these 2 went sold for.
99 cents, man. That's the thing. It's the fan base too. I'm sure they got good fans over there, but again, you know, you can't compare it to like the Lakers, the Knicks, and you know all those other fan bases.
Oh, this is an example of people don't really want to probably take to the hobby doesn't want the Tony Parker on the Hornets, right? So just interesting to take a look at that. Next up, we have one of the best power forwards to ever play the game, Karl Malone, infamous for the Utah Jazz uniform, and he played really his entire career with the Jazz except for one season, of course. And Omar's going to tell us the stats about Karl.
Yeah, so Karl Malone, you know, obviously he's one of the greatest players ever. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a 14-time All-Star. He averaged 25 points, 10 rebounds, almost 4 assists a game. So, you know, and he's obviously, in my opinion, again, I know him as a Utah Jazz legend.
The one season that he did spend, which just doesn't look right, is that 1 year he did spend in LA with the Lakers. And if you remember, he had this team they put together. It was Kobe was there, I believe, already, and Shaq, but they brought in Karl Malone and Gary Payton. So, we talk about the super teams and putting the star players together. Obviously, they were at the latter end of their careers, but they think they were trying to get a chip.
Ooh, you just got schooled, son.
Didn't work. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, we see it all the time, though, with different players. But sometimes it works, and it rarely does, though, honestly.
He only gave it one season. But the interesting thing with Karl Malone and looking at the card prices with his Jazz and Lakers jersey, there's the man. I mean, when you take a look at the last season he played with the Jazz, 02-03, there's some cards that are for sale. This is a gold refractor die cut that sold for about $35. So I can understand still buying Karl Malone whatever year it is with the Jazz. But interestingly enough, this X-Fractor sold for about $80, and this one's numbered to 220. And the seller actually put, quote, in parentheses, only year with the Lakers.
It's true. It's true. And again, this kind of shows what happened with Steve Nash. You know, the collector base for the Lakers, even though he only played there 1 year, Karl Malone, people are still out looking for that card. So, you know, I mean, you have to be a star technically, which he is, but you also finish your team on the right market, and that card may hold value.
Exactly. Yeah. Is it the big city effect? Mm-hmm. So you let us know in the comments if you think there's something to that. Let's jump into number 7. Number 7, we have Mr. Paul Pierce.
My man, I need a neck massage.
Iconic in the Celtics uniform. And as we know, really clutch late in the game, made the big buckets. But the Celtics is where he spent the large majority of his career. He did play for 4 different teams. Omar will give us a quick rundown on some of Paul Pierce's stats.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 2008 NBA champion, 4-time All-NBA, 2007 Finals MVP. He averaged pretty much 20.6 rebounds and almost 4 assists. He was great.
He was great as a Celtic, no doubt about it. But when you look at the weird jersey, it just doesn't stick that he spent 2 seasons with the Clippers. And, you know, the look on his face says it all, right? Like, it's not right.
I think he was thinking about his card values.
Well, take a look at that. You will see a difference here. But, yeah, Paul Pierce is not looking the same on the Clippers uniform. And when you look at the card values in his last season with the Celtics, there's really good demand. Here's a Panini Select Gold Prism number to 10, and it went for $380 in 26 bids. So that is definitely something collectors are looking for in the Celtics jersey.
Yep.
And in comparison, there's cards out there because he did play 2 seasons for the Clippers where you do have this, you know, patch select auto that went for about $35. So you see a big discrepancy here with Paul Pierce in that iconic jersey and sort of like, you know, the extra uniform that he wore later in his career.
Yeah, I mean, and that's an autograph too. You would think it probably goes for more, but again, it goes to show you that, you know, it all depends on where team they're in and, you know, how successful they are in that team. So it's crazy.
So next up, we actually, for number 6, have another small forward, one of the greatest, Scottie Pippen, iconic player with Michael Jordan side by side, that duo winning so many championships. Of course, the red Chicago Bulls jersey is what we always associate Scottie Pippen with. However, he did spend some time in another team, and we'll go over that in a sec.
Yeah, so he was a Hall of Famer, 7-time All-Star, 6-time NBA champion, 7-time All-NBA, 10-time All-Defensive Team. Yeah, he averaged 16.6 boards and 5 assists. So, and obviously he was the right-hand man for Michael Jordan. You all know that.
This is I love the shot of Scottie Pippen too at the free throw line. It just looks awesome. I think, you know, we always associate Scottie Pippen with the Bulls uniform, but when you remember, we cannot forget that he did spend that one season with the Houston Rockets, and it just doesn't look right.
Nah, man, the jersey looks, I don't like it. Looks too big. It doesn't fit right. It's just not the best look for Scottie.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here.
And I think he was also in that season, you know, kind of chasing a championship, because didn't they bring in Charles Barkley as well?
Yeah, so if you look it up online, this was Pippen was with Barkley, that's right, and then Olajuwon was still on the Rockets towards, you know, the later on in his career. But it was this uniform. I don't even associate this Rockets uniform with the classic Rockets uniform. This was like some experiment. I don't know how many years they had this uniform. Maybe you let us know in the comments. But I think on top of the fact that Scottie Pippen was with the Rockets uniform was weird at the time.
Everything is weird. It just doesn't work. It's just a failed experiment. We all have to fail sometimes in life. They did that.
Yeah, Pippen won enough. He was successful enough. So this is the only thing we could pick at. It is what it is. But let's take a look at the card values. So taking a look at his last season with the Bulls, 03-04, here's a Fleer Skybox jersey graphics card that, you know, was listed for about $100, and the best offer was accepted. So hopefully somewhere in that range this card went for. So there is demand for Pippen in that jersey uniform. Totally understandable. And surprisingly enough, when you look on the right, in one of the seasons that he played there with the Rockets, in a PSA 8, we have this gold label card for Pippen that went for about $90. So there is demand on both sides, even though Pippen doesn't have a lot of highlights, you know, on the Rockets. There's still people looking for that card.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Rockets, they're you know, one of the best franchises out there in the NBA. So I'm sure they have diehard fans, you know. And also, too, Pippen himself, his name value is just one of the greatest ever. I think he's technically one of the top 50 best players in the NBA ever in the NBA. So that makes sense.
When we go into our top 5, it's going to get really difficult. We're going to go into number 5 right now. And one of the most dynamic players, dominant players of our generation, Shaquille O'Neal, in a Lakers uniform. Now, I think some people could argue, hey, this could also be a Magic uniform, only because he was a Magic for the first few years of his career, and that was his rookie year. So I don't know if you agree, but I associate Shaquille with the Lakers the most, but I do remember him very much so in the Magic uniform too.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers is where he had most of his success, you know, and the Magic, I mean, they did. I think they did well. Point is, I know he was dominant in the Magic. In the Lakers, he was, what, they won 3 rings, him and Kobe. So, you know, you think of Shaquille O'Neal, you think of the purple and gold. That's
immediately where my mind went, so that's why I put the Lakers on this presentation. But Shaquille O'Neal, of course, didn't only play for the Lakers.
You know, he was a Hall of Famer, obviously, 15-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champion, a 4-time NBA champion, 14-time All-NBA, 92 Rookie of the Year, 3-time All-Defensive Team, just 3-time Finals MVP. And there's some stuff I'm missing there. And he averaged, you know, 24 points, 10 boards, and 3 assists. So he was just dominant. So I remember back in the day, it was just give him the ball and let him just go to the hoop, just back to the hoop. That was it. There's really no way you could guard it. So
yeah, literally, just give him the ball and just clear the whole side of the court, right?
It's like a cheat code. Like, it's like having the ultimate code that you just can't stop, and you knew what was gonna happen, but you still couldn't do anything. I mean, technically, they did the Hack-a-Shack.
The Hack-a-Shack, yeah.
But I mean, and I think I saw a statistic like it was like if he actually hit most of his free throws or something like that, like his scoring may have been like the most highest scorer ever. He was great.
No doubting Shaq's greatness. LA Lakers, how we think of him, but we do have some examples of Shaq in another uniform. But I think the one that stood out to us was him in a Phoenix Suns uniform. We know he played in Miami, he played in Boston. You know, he did move around a little bit, But just him in that, like the purple and orange, it just, I don't know, it just kind of stood out. And even in this picture, I don't know what promotional picture they did with this thing or how they used it, but it just looks all sorts of weird. He did spend 2 seasons with Phoenix. Just doesn't look right having Shaq in these uniforms.
Yeah. It kind of looks like a promotional picture for the movie he was in, Shazam.
Yeah, I like a Shazam slash like, you know, Phoenix Suns marketing ad. I don't know what's going on here, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't look right. So let's see the card values. His 0304 last season with the Lakers. Here's a refractor PSA 10 that sold for $280 as a buy it now. So clearly there's going to be demand for, you know, Shaq on the Lakers side of things. But surprisingly enough, when you look at him, even though he spent, you know, 2 seasons in the Suns, here's a card number to 25 that is an immaculate game used shoe sole. So that's pretty cool. But still, in the Suns jersey, went for over $200.
Again, that's name value. It doesn't get any better than Shaquille O'Neal. Look, he's always on TV. He's on the NBA, what's that, TNT primetime show. So he's almost transcended basketball, you know. Now he's just on another level. Everyone knows Shaquille O'Neal. If you ask someone on the street who's Shaquille O'Neal, they'll probably know who it is. That's why, again, then that's great for card values. The more popular you are, no matter what team you may finish on, your values will be good.
Yeah, he's a household name, right? Simply put. So that's gonna, it doesn't seem to matter whatever jersey it is. It's something people in the hobby are looking to still buy. Let's go. Number 4, we have another center, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. One of the greatest centers of all time, so smooth. You know, we look to him in his Houston Rockets uniform, and that's just the way I always associated him with. But he didn't wear that uniform forever.
Hall of Famer, obviously, right? 12-time All-Star, 3-time block champion, 2-time NBA champion, 9-time All-Defensive Team, 1984 All-Rookie Team, 2-time Finals MVP, 93 MVP, 22 points, about 11 boards, and 3 assists. So again, just a dominant player for his era.
Yeah, he was just he was a beast. He was one of the greatest big men that we've ever seen. The only thing about it is we did catch glimpses of Hakeem Olajuwon in another uniform where he spent 1 season with the Toronto Raptors. That was his last season, actually. Just doesn't look right in that purple.
Nope, not at all. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. We both don't like it. What do you think in the comments? Yeah. Hakeem Olajuwon in the Raptors uniform. Yeah.
I want to know, why did he want to go there? Did they not want to renew him to Rockets, or was he chasing a championship? Or I don't know the full backstory, but just it's tough, man. It's tough to see that.
Yeah, it is. It's just kind of hard to see when you look these things up, even though it's obscure, but the history is there, right? They're in another uniform. They even have cards. We'll take a look at it right now. I think the hobby is speaking is exactly with what we're saying. You take a look at, you know, his final Rockets season, not all that strong, but here's just a, you know, kind of a card number to 500, nothing too special, about an $8 value on that card. This is one of the higher ones I could find for his last season. So it doesn't seem to be a lot of demand on Hakeem Olajuwon's sort of Rockets last season cards. However, looking at the 0102 showcase, this is a Raptors card for his only season there in a PSA 9, and it went for about, you know, $23 plus shipping. And so couple people willing to throw a couple of bucks at Hakeem Olajuwon, even in a Raptors jersey.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe because also, too, I mean, it could be because maybe that card is like graded. Some people like buying graded cards and things like that. He was extremely good, one of the best centers ever, but you could see the price difference between him and someone like Shaquille O'Neal. It's crazy.
But yeah, right. Both dominant centers, but you see maybe that household name value, like you talked about, you know, is more so important than the different jerseys that they're playing for.
Exactly.
We're making it our top 3. We're going to move away from some of the big men right now. We are going into one of the greatest pure scorers that we've seen, Allen Iverson.
The ultimate NBA All-Star fantasy draft. First pick belongs to the Chuckster. Charles, who's the first pick? Let me guess.
Allen Iverson. Wow. Are you serious?
The answer, no doubt, we think about Allen Iverson in that 76ers uniform in Philly.
Yeah, one of my favorite players ever. He's a Hall of Famer, 11-time All-Star, 4-time scoring champion, 3-time steal champion, 7-time All-NBA, 1996 Rookie of the Year. So he's just huge, and he averaged 27 points, like about 4 boards and 6 assists. So this guy, he was the answer.
He was the answer. He spent the majority of his career in Philly, but he did spend some time on some other teams. So the one to us that stood out as the most unusual to see him in had to be the Memphis Grizzlies jersey. He did spend one season there, and it just didn't look right. I think his face says it all.
Man, I don't want it no more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't even want to like looking at that picture. I just want to remember him as a 76er for life. I used to just love his game. I used to watch him all the time. I used to play NBA 2K1, and he was on the cover for Dreamcast. So that's how far back I go.
Wow, Dreamcast.
Whoa!
Yeah, I used to love Allen Iverson. I used to make my player. I think you remember with all the bands on my arms and stuff, and just. Yeah, Allen Iverson. He made me want to be like cool. He was so cool. His whole demeanor on the court.
When you look at his card values for both, right? His final 76ers season, 09 and 10 for Topps Chrome. Here's a card number to $9.99, went for about $50, not graded. So pretty good. On the far right, though, the hobby is saying they're not really looking so much for Allen Iverson. This is the highest comp I could actually find was a $6 card number to 250 when he played on the Grizzlies.
The Memphis, I don't know if they have like the largest fan base. It'll be interesting to see if Allen Iverson had finished his career in the Lakers, would that be a card that people are looking for? That's always things to consider, But again, the Memphis Grizzlies don't have the fan base as the Lakers and things like that.
So let's get into the top two. At number 2, we have one of the best big men to ever play, Mr. Patrick Ewing.
Everybody in this building should know who the hell I am.
It goes without saying that the iconic uniform for Ewing was with the New York Knicks, number 33. For a long time, had a lot of rivalries with some of the best teams out there, the Bulls, the Pacers, but it all was in a Knicks uniform.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, obviously, 11-time All-Star, 7 All-NBA teams, 1985 Rookie of the Year, 3-time All-Defensive Team. He averaged 21 points, about 10 rebounds, and 2 assists. He was just one of those players when I was watching the Knicks, we were watching them together. Allen Houston, Patrick Ewing. Who else am I missing? Your boy John Starks.
John Starks, can't forget John Starks.
Yeah, so that was a fun team, and they were tough. I used to like that fight in them. They didn't take no crap. Versus the Bulls and the Pacers and all that stuff. Those are the times.
Oh, look out! Here comes Rivers after Johnson. We have a free fall. Johnson blindsided Rivers.
No doubt about it. Patrick Ewing on the Knicks go hand in hand. But Ewing did play for 3 different teams. One team in particular just looked strange, super strange to see him in that uniform. That for us was the one season he spent with the Seattle Supersonics. He did keep the same number on the jersey, but the uniform just doesn't look right on Ewing.
Yeah, nah, man. He kept the wristbands too, so he kept. He looks cool, man. But I mean, I just can't get with it. I mean, he's a New York Knick for life, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see what the hobby thinks about it. Take a look at some quick card values. Ewing's last season with the Knicks. No, not too crazy of a card, but this is 1999-2000 Stadium Club, number to 150, went for about $25. And when you take a look on the right, in 2001, when he played for the Supersonics, this is like a game-worn uniform patch, went for not even $7. So
yeah, I mean, that's interesting too, because remember, the Supersonics don't exist anymore. The Oklahoma City Thunder, I believe. Yeah. But there actually are rumors. We'll see what happens. But again, it doesn't help if the franchise you played on doesn't exist anymore.
That's true. That's a really good point. We've given you 10 all the way down to number 2. Now all we have left is the top spot. And number 1 might be controversial to some people out there, but we thought long and hard about it, and we are going to give him his flowers. But we are going to put him on number 1. It's the GOAT, Air Jordan, the most dominant players we've seen. And that Chicago Bulls uniform is the uniform for Michael Jordan.
Yeah, easily. There's no other uniform that should have ever went on him, including a Chicago White Sox when he played for the White Sox. Yeah, let's not forget that. But honestly, Hall of Famer. Do I even have to name the stuff? I mean, we all know how good.
I don't even think you got to name it. I mean, it goes without saying. We know the guy has nearly every record in the book, and so many rings. But I think what we're here to talk about is the fact that he did wear another uniform. We all know what that uniform was. He spent the 2 seasons with the Washington Wizards. He was, owner of the team. But I can't get over it. It just doesn't look right.
Nah, it doesn't. I mean, but the crazy thing is, for the Wizards, he was still actually pretty good. That was good. He left on he wasn't the Bulls good, but he was pretty good. I think he finished averaging like 20 points or something like that. But again, the overall look is just not iconic. Black and red, the Bulls.
It's no knock on Jordan, of course. The GOAT, however, just seeing him in that Wizards uniform, seeing those pictures, it's just sort of like, oh man, yeah, that's right. He did play there, right? That's how we felt, and we put Michael in the number 1 spot for that. If you disagree, let us know who you think would be number 1. But let's take a quick look at Michael's card values. Being the GOAT, it doesn't matter where you play.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking a look at Michael Jordan's PSA 10 97-98 Skybox. This is for his last season as a Bull. This card went for over $13,000. So clearly having that card that was that last season for Jordan matters to certain collectors. And when you look at that in comparison to his last season that he played with the Wizards, because he did play 2 seasons. So people it looked at both years, but people want the last season that he actually played in the NBA and with the Wizards. And this card went for over $3,500 at PSA 10.
When you're the greatest ever, that's what happens. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, again, his last year technically playing in the NBA, those cards generally go for more, and it's just Michael Jordan. What he's done for the NBA.
Jordan took it to another level. I think what this proves is, as far as the hobby's concerned, when you're the GOAT, it doesn't matter what team you're playing for. There's going to be collectors out there that want those cards, and if they're graded, obviously even more. But this is our list, guys. Jordan at number 1. And you got to let us know, where do we get it right? Where do we get it wrong? Who would you add to the list? Who do we leave out of the list that you remember in the NBA just don't look right in those other uniforms?
Yeah, there was a few other ones we thought about adding in here, but we want to hear what you have to say in the comments to see, if you think we left someone out that should have been replaced.
It's up to you. Let us know in the comments. Give us a like, subscribe if you want more content like this. We could do other sports in the future. Leave us some comments on what you want to see, and we'll get that ready for you next time. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.